friends, it's Linda from Richter Stitcher. It's been a long time. I'm probably going to need to get my glasses here. Let me reach over here. I forgot to grab my glasses because I am going to need those. This is a cross stitch channel, but I haven't been here in about 3 months. Last Flosstube was number 20, and that was back in November. Like, it was right before Thanksgiving, I want to say. But because of that, things just got a little crazy busy because I am a decorator around the holidays. I like to seasonally decorate, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it gets a little busy, I'd say. That's probably the busiest time of year for me. But I always find things to do. So as you've probably seen if you follow me on my socials, I have a lot of just things that catch my attention. Of course, Instagram and Facebook don't help, and then knowing all those crafty people out there, I have to try. So it is a new year. We are February the 29th. It's leap year this year, so the last day of the month before a new month. This will probably get posted though in March because I have a new camera since Christmas. I can record on it, but I'm still learning all the features and trying to get it transferred onto my editing program. I use iMovie, and then getting that to YouTube. So it takes a few days for me usually. Some people can do it on a daily basis, but I've done it before, but I was using just my iPhone at the time, and I figured all that out, so it wasn't too bad, but probably won't be doing daily ones for a while. Monthly is probably good for me. So again, it is a cross stitch channel. I do share a few other crafts on here, but this year I've really, after looking at all the things that I do, my last video was a feature film, almost close to 3 hours long, so I don't want to do that every month. I tried vlog style where you try to record on a daily basis, and that just doesn't happen for me either. I mean, I post to my socials usually daily, but to record and then get it into one is just too much for me. I think I do enough already, so I don't want to tackle that. So I think for my floss tubes anyways, for 2024, I'm going to try to get it within an hour. My goal when I first started this 3 years ago was 30 minutes, but that doesn't happen either because I try to squeeze too much into one. So today anyways, what I want to do is go through the things that I've worked on in the last 3 months, so that's why I'm hoping it won't be too long for you. But I will start with the cross stitch. I had one finished this year so far, which I'm thankful for, that I can, check that box off. It wasn't my New Year, I forget what it's called, the one that I had started to try to finish in the month of January. That didn't happen. I'm still working on that, and we'll share where I'm at on that piece. But it was a previous whip that got finished from the last year, I guess. In 2023, I think I started this one. I don't know if I have the card handy, but I will share the finish on that, and then a few of the crochet finishes, and I will probably insert pictures of what those finishes were because some of them were gifted. I kept a couple, and then February came around, so I made a few things that I crocheted up for that, but for Valentine's Day. Besides the cross stitch, I do want to share the things that I plan to work on this year. I was going through my whips, and I have a little shelf off to the side here, and I can share a picture. I finally got it emptied so that I could see all of my projects, whether it was kitted or whether it was my works in progress that I've actually started. So I was trying to weed through and see if there was ones in there that I won't stitch anymore. So another video that I'd like to separate from this one will be my whip parades, as well as I'll probably have to separate those because I do have a lot of whips. Some are seasonal, and then some are just ones that I've picked up or someone had a birthday and I started, so I'll group them together. Probably there'll be a kitted parade as well as a works in progress parade, because there's just a lot. And I thought I would weed through and say I'm not going to stitch on this anymore. I think I came across just maybe a handful that just don't appeal to me anymore, but some are bigger projects by designers that I really do enjoy, so I will continue them. Just how long it'll take me to finish could be in the years to come. So, but this year I do want to focus on a few that really have to spark my interest, that I've come to love, and want to really work with those. And as you all know, working with other stitchers or being a part of a stitching community really does encourage me to keep going and stitch. So because of that, I have started quite a bit, and actually I'm going to start one today for a birthday sale that was last month for this stitchy friend, and I just want to start it, and I actually will see this person so on a monthly basis hopefully, and kind of will encourage me to keep going at it. So let's get started. I'm going to put my glasses on, hopefully with all these lights. I thought light would be pretty good. I am sitting at my sewing machine area, so there's desk space here next to the machines where I can set things up. So the first finish I talked about is the name of the pattern is called Stitch Sisters, but and sorry it's not ironed. I did finish and complete that, and I can insert some pictures also of what it looked like before and then where I actually finished it. I'm really pleased with it, and being that it's in a circle, I think what I want to do is fully finish it in a circle. So depending on what I put it on, I'm not quite sure yet, but I am getting a little stack of fully finishes that need to be framed or finished, so I just need to focus on a finishing day. Maybe this year sometime I will do that. We'll just have to see what all happens. But that was my first finish of 2024, and I'm very pleased with that. A couple other finishes that aren't cross-stitched I'll just go ahead and share real quickly. I mentioned February for Valentine's Day. I made a few little hearts. I started because I wanted some finishing, I don't know what they call them when you put them on your thread machines for your sewing machines. So I just found a few patterns, crocheted those up, gifted a bunch to the boxcar friends that we stitch with, as well as I made a little flower. Also kept a couple for myself, as well as like these ones that are on the strings. I had a little Valentine's tree. I can insert a picture of that I hung these on. And there's, you know, just a few. I think there was 3 or 4. So I crocheted those up. They're really simple and quick. I can do those in one sitting in an hour, less than an hour really. But I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could make the little hearts. So that's a few other crochet finishes that I had. And then on YouTube, I think it's Lori Holt's YouTube, she shared one of her YouTubes where her daughter was making keychains, and it reminded me of when I was in school. I used to have, but anyways, the tutorial that I was watching was on Lori Holt's YouTube, and she was sharing her daughter's keychains that she makes, and she uses floss, or is it pearl cotton? I can't recall, but I'll put it under the description box, the YouTube, if anybody's interested. But I tried it, and kind of reminded me, like I was saying, when I was in grade school, we used to do macrame, where you thread it and then kind of do like a braid, and that's kind of what this was like. And I just put it on a little clip, but you can actually get things off Amazon if you want to use them as keychains, or I was even thinking maybe zipper pulls. So I just made this little red and gold one, and I did use, actually it's right here, forget what this stuff is called, but you get them in spools like this, red and gold. And that's kind of what I used to make this one. So that was another finish that I had. So I just wanted to share my finishes there. So some of the things that I've worked on in the last 3 months. The first pattern is Caroline Carter 1823. That's the pattern. And this was started back in, I'm trying to read my writing on the back here. Well, I kitted it back in August. I'm looking for a start date, but I don't see it on here. It might have been in August when I started it, but I thought it was such a cute pattern. The proper stitcher is Annie. She mentioned how small it is and you could get a sampler made up quickly, so I thought this would be perfect because some of the samplers that we start are just so huge and years in the making. So let me pull out here colors that I'm using. I kitted it up with my own colors. It's not the called for. And I'm using NPIs, and I actually have a couple of Vera Soirs, a Silken Colors, and a Trenway Silk. So they are silks, which I thought for a sampler, you know, sometimes they look nice in DMC, but since I had these few colors that I thought would look good, they're here, I think, on this fabric, which is also, where did I put the pattern? Right here. The fabric I'm using is an 18 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I got started on the border and did that. I think I started in this corner here and coming down and over. So I don't know if you can see that. I think, like I said, these colors are really nice on this Vintage Country Mocha. So I'm going to continue on that one. I like, I think this is a fiber, what does it say? Just there's a pattern or a fabric where it's printed on one side and the other side's plain. So I did the modeled side on this one, and then I think I got it at 1, 2, 3 stitch, pretty sure. So I am going to continue that one because 18 count seems to be, if I'm on Ada, where I like to stitch. I can do the others, of course, but I like how easy it is to stitch with that. So that's one of the ones that I've worked on in the last 3 months. The next one, of course, being the new year, I brought out, and excuse the crinkling, I'm going to pull this out in a second. It's a Roveris, A New Year's Beginning. So I'll share where I'm at with that. It was a kit. It has the rick rack and the little bell once I finish it with. And I'm using a 14 count Ada on this one because when I started it was a couple years ago. And I'm finally working on that a little bit more. I still have the snowman to finish, and then of course the house at the bottom and the words. So came out in 2019, I think. So the Sand Sable Ada 14 count is what I'm working on with that. So I will continue that one as well. Trying to get, when I talk to people, they call it a rotation, what to put on the calendar and how to get stitching on it. So I'm still working on filling out my New Year calendar, even though we're into March. So I hope to figure that out, but when I get to the starts and things that I have, what I'm trying to do is fill out the calendar and put on there, like if I start a birthday start, if it's that person's birthday is the 19th, say, then every 19th of the month I'll stitch on that piece. So I'll have something to stitch. I don't have a lot of birthday starts, maybe 4 to 6 is probably where I'm at right now, but as you get to know people or hear and you want to start something that you're interested in, that's kind of what I've been doing, I've noticed, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been fun. Or if I'm wanting to start with a friend just a pattern, if we started on a specific date, then that date I'm putting in the calendar to work on that particular stitch. So that's kind of how I'm working it out for right now. Another one that was pulled out back in December, since I haven't shared it with you, I'll share it with you now, is the Prairie Schooler, the Santas. I really wanted to start these. I have quite a few in my stash. And I've noticed, like Alicia, the Fanciful Flamingo, she has a Prairie Schooler Day. Ginger Shoal does Prairie Schoolers. Just, I've seen a lot of people doing Prairie Schoolers, and the Santas having them in an ornament shape really interests me for Christmas, to put them on my trees and stuff. These are probably ones that I'll keep and not gift, but I did want to get those started. So of course I bought a big, huge piece of Davos from the Cross Stitch Nook online. I think it's an Etsy shop. And I bought 18 count. This is the card. Oops, sorry. Cross Stitch Nook. And it's a khaki. So I bought a big enough piece to, I think, put quite a few Santas on. I'll show you before I unfold it how large it is. But I got the border outlined, and then I just started at the top where his hat is at. I don't know if that's coming out clear or not. Hopefully so. But this 2021 Santa really appealed to me with the fox and the owl. So I'm really looking forward to starting to stitch on some of those. But like I said, the other thing that got done in the last 3 months is my serger is fixed. So I need to serge the edges on all these fabrics. But as you can see, this one stitch over here, yeah, will hold quite a few Santas, and this whole piece will be used for all of my Prairie Schooler Santas. And hopefully get finished, you know, a couple a year maybe, I'm hoping. But if I can focus, and maybe the date that I started this one was December 30th. So every 30th of the month I'm going to try and pull out my Prairie Schooler Santa and work on him and see how long it takes to get some of these done. Excuse me, I need some water. As well as I have my coffee. Have to have my coffee. Even though it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I will probably regret that. But I am using just the DMC that it's called for. And I've just got them here on my little ring. And hopefully use that up with my little fob, my Santa fob, for that. And we were gifted some things at our last boxcar quilt that we sit and stitch on a monthly basis. And I've seen other people share, like last year they shared their 2023 little tags, and that's my goal as I finish each one of these, is maybe to use them on the oops, backwards, on my finishes. But these ones say 2024, and there's quite a few in there. So, and there's a few other things. There's a little key in there. So I'm looking forward to using those little gifts that people give me for finishing and things. So that was a fun little happy that was given to us this last, I guess it was in our February stitch that we did. And next week is our March stitch, so I'm looking forward to going to that. A couple other things that we got because it was Valentine's Day. I'll just share those now instead of wait, since it's sitting here in front of me. The ladies at Boxcar were passing out little happies for everybody, and this person must have been really busy because there was at least, oh goodness, 20 of us there, maybe more. But she stitched a little piece that has love on it and little heart, and it doesn't have a magnet on it, but I'm thinking that's what I'll do. It's like a little button. They make kits where you can make buttons and put your cross stitch pieces in there, so I think I'll just put a magnet on there and use that as a little magnet holder. And then she gave everybody a little letter, which was so cute, with our little Valentine's card and sticker. And that was all put in this little bag with some chocolate, which is long gone, that we nibbled on. So those were some fun little happies that we get from the ladies there at Boxcar, which is always fun. That's, like I said, I enjoy going to those kind of events, and it's only monthly right now, but I'm hoping to do more of that kind of stuff with people that I get to know. So back to the cross stitch pieces that I've worked on or started in the last 3 months. Another Prairie Schooler, and this one I think is a birthday sale. And I also was calling it my snow days, but here in Texas we don't get very many of those. I might have to change that to my cold days instead of snow days. Just when it's colder than it normally should be. Maybe this is when I'll pull this out. But I think the system, like I said, with when I start things, or if it's a birthday start, like Ginger Shoal's birthday start, pretty sure that's what this one was. I'm looking for the card. Getting my threads out here. Is that the card? I think that's the card. Maybe. Yes. I like to put them out on 3x5 cards right now. That's the quickest and easiest for me. And I basically just put the title of the pattern, the threads that I'm using, the fabric that I'm using, and if it goes with a hashtag, I'll put that on here. And apparently there's quite a few hashtags on this one. It's hashtag Prairie Schooler Saturday, hashtag Prairie Schooler Christmas Village, and then Ginger's birthday is in December, so on the 14th of every month is probably what I'll do with this one as well, is pull it out on the 14th and put a few stitches in it just so that it can continue to get worked on. There's another hashtag called hashtag Snow Day, and then there's hashtag Birthday Starts, and then hashtag Stitching with Friends, because that's kind of what I've been doing. So that's this piece here, and it's the Prairie Schooler Village, or Christmas Village. And I'm using, I'm not sure, I think these were things that I changed. I'm looking here to see. Yeah, I replaced, looks like 2 of the threads, but they are all DMC. So I went to the Hobby Lobby, that's why I have 2 rings here, and got the ones that I was missing. And then I used Fat Quarter Shop's little floss tags to put these on. And I'm waiting today to get a little, if you watch Floss Boss and Cousins, she shared, someone gave her a flat iron, and it's a mini, to iron your flosses, and it gets them nice and unkinked, because a lot of my flosses came from my mother and they were on bobbins. So I want to use that, maybe sit at the couch when I'm watching TV or whatever, when I'm working on a particular pattern, and I'm going to iron my flosses because they look awful. Lately I've just been doing this. And I am using a different fabric. I'm using a excuse me, white petite point gray fabric, and it's still on the hoop. Sorry about that, and probably got a magnet and a needle in it. No needle, just the magnet. But this is how far, oh nope, there is a needle. Right there with the flosses that I'm using stuck to the back. But that's how far I got so far. And I don't know, did I say when I started this? Her birthday was December 14th, but I kitted it in January, around the 10th or 11th. So I actually started it January 15th. So because, like I said, her birthday's on the 14th, I will probably put this on the rotation for every 14th of the month to pull that out. And I don't know, after doing that, I'll have to see what my calendar looks like, because I don't want to put too many starts or works in progress on the same day. But hopefully it'll take a while to get numerous ones on the same day. So that was another whip that I had worked on since I have been with you. I'm going to be sure and put all this back in the bags. I apologize. I just don't want to have a disaster when I get finished to try to figure out where everything goes. The other thing I'm trying to do is, after going through all this, if it doesn't have a bag, which this one does not have a bag, if it's a lot of Prairie Schoolers that I'm working on, I'm going to try to put them all in one bag. If it's a single designer, then I'm trying to make a bag or use these ones from Amazon if they fit, just so that my shelf doesn't look all clustered with different size bags. You know, that's kind of what was irritating me when I would look over there. I like to see order, I guess, and when it's got a bunch of different things in there. I mean, these look nice sit on the shelf together, but not all of my patterns fit in there like that, especially if I've got a hoop with them. But this probably would fit in a size bag like that, but the bigger you get, you just have to work on it. And then a lot of the bags that I have, that I've purchased are pre-bought, but I mean, they don't look bad on the shelves because they're stitched, and I am in the process of making a few, so hopefully mine will look as nice as some of these. Another start is just recent that I started because of Katie's so tattered, and I'm looking to see if the pattern's in here, and I don't think, oh wait, well, I might be saving this one for later because I don't have a picture to show. Well, I'll stick in a picture of what we're talking about here. It's oh, I can't even think of the name of the designer. The Spanish Stitcher. There's where my mind goes, but she had a Katie had a post from the Spanish Stitcher's pattern that she was starting, and I loved it because of the color blues that were in it. And so I, of course, had to kit it, and I made up some floss tags and used my mother's colors that I came across in my stash. And I'm pretty sure, I wish I would have stuck the paper in here, that I used the called for, because once I start kitting something up, I tend to do that, and I didn't have the called for fabric, and I wanted to dive into trying to dye my own fabric, so that was something else that I did in the last 3 months, was coffee tea dyed this fabric that you'll see here, and I'll show you how far I've gotten. I want to work on this when I go to my boxcar stitch, as well as the date that I started it, so it will get a little more progress done on it, because I am a slow stitcher. But this is the fabric that was tea and coffee dyed, and you can see up here on the top I've just started the border, but I want to continue that. Of course, I've got my needle on there. But this is also staying out in my basket next to the works in progress that I want to get worked on. I might designate, and maybe I can turn you here, one of the cubbies just for ones that I know I'll work on that month. But right now it's totally empty because, like I said, I've been going through all of my patterns to try to figure out what I have. And I hope that didn't do anything to the camera, but this was another one that got started and worked on in, I think, February is when I started this one, but I'm not having the card in here, which must be somewhere. I'll find it in this mess on the floor probably. As we're going through things, I might even come across it, but I have that in this bag because of the frame that it's in right now, but as I work on it, I might take them off of the frames and put them in the smaller bags when they're not being worked on. But that was another start and gonna continue project that I've been working on. This one was my January New Year start, as well as the one that Blessing Sampler, I think is what it's called, that you try to finish in the month. Well, I didn't finish it, but I did get quite a bit done, which I was very pleased for me in that period of time. Yeah, my New Year's start, and it looks like I worked on it 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 7 or 8 days to get this far, and for me that's really good. But I did start it on January 1st for my Blessing Sampler and New Year's start. I kind of combined the two, and it's a Brenda Gervais pattern called The Maker and the Mender. That's the picture. I don't know if it really goes sideways or not. Yeah, I guess it goes like that. And I'm using a 36 count R&R Barb's blend and the called for threads. I might Just kind of tilt this so that you can see how far I got. And I really like on this 36 count. I thought it would be harder for me to see, but it really goes faster. I don't know if it's the magnifying glass when I'm using it. I can easily go over to, and so that's really been a fun stitch that I've enjoyed. And the more things that I start, I'm finding if it calls for a 36, I get all excited because, oh, I can do that. So that's another one that got worked on. And it's just in one of these zippy bags also. Another one that got pulled out in the last 3 months. I think it was back in December the last time that I might have pulled this one out, but I've got them on these floss bobbins from, oh, can't remember the name. It's an Etsy shop, and I didn't write it down. Yeah, I forget her name. I'll put it below, sorry. But she was asking me, because we were communicating what colors and things I like. She made the little fob with the little scissors and the blue colors, because she knows I like blue, and then I asked her to put my initials on them. So right now how I do that, because they are wood, they do have 2 holes in them, but I don't want to write on these. I guess I could use stickies, but that's one of the reasons I keep the 3x5 card, because I wrote down the symbol, and then next to the symbol I put the DMC color that I'm using. But I guess I do notice she puts A through however many floss ones you get. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 10 here. So A through however many alphabets, that is J, I think, yeah. It goes A through J, and then so what I did is put J on the 3x5 card with the color. So that's kind of how I organized those, and I really like that system. It seems to work for me because I always have this card handy. I'm not sure why my light just went out. I hope I'm not too dark, but one of my lights just flashed. But I've got other lights on, so hopefully you can still see. But those are the colors I'm using, and like I said, this one's on a 40 count R&R Winter's Brew, and I started this actually back in September. Okay, I think we are back. Like I said, this new camera is causing me a little bit of confusion. So yeah, it got too hot or something, and I had to turn it off, and we are back. So I'm going to pick up where I left off and try to edit this together. Hopefully it won't get too hot. I did have a light on that was really bright, so maybe it just overheated. I'm not sure. Still a lot to learn. So I think I was talking about this pattern, the samplers from the Scarlet House that I've worked on. It's an R&R Winter's Brew on a 40 count, and I started it back in September of last year, and I'm using DMC, and they are the called for, and I put them on this ring with the colors, and I'll put below what the Etsy shop was that I purchased those from if you're interested. They do a great job with floss tags and things like that, but I'll show you the progress here that I've made, and this is one of the ones I really want on my wall, like above all of the samplers that I'm making. Hopefully I can get it finished, but I made a little bit of progress. Got my little dog in there, so that's where I'm at, and I will keep working on that one this year as well. So that's a fun one that I've enjoyed. 40 count seems to be okay for me. Let's see what else we've got. So we're getting there. I've done a few. The other really big one that I started, and I want to say this was my New Year's start in 2023 for the new year, and it was with Teresa Little Stitcher. There's a hashtag, Teresa made me do it, I think is what we were doing. or what we decided on. Get all my papers out of here so I don't confuse them. But I pulled this out recently, just in my husband's office. When he's in there working, I'll go in there. These are all, it is one with beads, but here's the cover. It's Portrait of Veronica by Nora Corbett. And I just love the green dress, so that's mainly why I picked her. I don't see my paper in here of when I started, but it was a New Year's start, I know that. So I've been working on that, and I did keep it on their little frames. But these are the flosses stuck to my frame. There are a lot, of course, and I want to say I am using, well, actually no, there was some that were called for and some that aren't, but I did pick up the DMCs that are called for, and that's pretty much what they all are, except for there's a metallic in here. But I received some of these floss tags from another stitchy friend, so as many as she sent me was perfect for the amount of flosses in this, and there is quite a few. So I keep them on that ring, and I've gotten a little ways, and I'm thinking I started in the middle on this one because it was so big, but we are working my way. Double check and make sure I'm holding it the proper direction. If I get the right paper. And I'm going to share with you, I'm trying not to use paper patterns as much anymore. For some reason the one that's supposed to be here, and I can probably pull it up now that I think about it, because it's just going to be easier for me instead of searching. But last month I didn't realize if you're an Apple user, you can use the app called iBooks. Well, let me close this so you can see what it looks like, if I can find it here. Alright, I'll hold it up here. It's the one that looks like a book, right there in the corner, orange book. It's called iBooks, and I just moved it, didn't I? Sorry about that. It's not wanting to do what I want. Well, it's down here. Okay, it wants me to type. Go away. It's easier than it looks, people. But here on my screen you'll see the orange with the book in the middle. So I'm going to tap that. It's called Books, and when it opens it comes to my library. And if you can see, like, I've got my Prairie Schooler one in there. And there are some books in there as well, but there's also patterns that I've input, quite a few. And this is one of the ones that I've inputted, so let me find it here. That way you can see. Oh, there she is. She's right here. If it'll open. Come on. Oh, it's opening. Takes a minute. I always forget. Alright. There she is. So what I do is I take a picture, of course, of the front on my phone. Goes to my camera. And then all the subsequent, and I'm not going to share the pattern pictures that are in there. And this one, it just folds out into a huge picture, so I had to make sure when I took each of the pictures for different pages that I didn't miss any. So I forget how many pages are in this one. And then you take a picture of the back cover. I was able to do it in three photos, and then I enlarged one of them. But yeah, I'm working on the middle of the dress is where I've started, and I'm going to do this just so that you can't see a whole lot of the pattern. You're able to highlight it with your pen that's on here. If you tap the screen, oops, sorry about that, don't want to share anything I shouldn't. But when you touch the screen of iBooks, there's a little pen here. You click it and it brings up a little chart with the colors, and oops, you're able to pick your eraser or your marker and the color that you want to use. And as you've seen, I was able to use the blue marker is what I did. And every time I do a stitch, I would color that in. So instead of marking up the actual paper pattern that it comes with, I really like using the iBooks. So I did want to share that. And I have been inputting since January a lot of different charts. So ones that I've started and some that I haven't, that I want to have in there when I do get ready to start it. But because of that, I've been carrying this little iPad with me whenever I go somewhere, because I know my chart is in there. And I think there's a good 90 in there right now, and lots more to go. This is where I'm at. Pretty sure it goes like this. But I started with the black, and I did start in the middle. I've got it just on the Edmunds frames that I use, and I have it loose, pretty loose, so that I can go in and out easily. I'm trying to learn this sewing method, and I heard if you leave these really loose, it's easier, but I have been putting it on my stand, and it holds it so that I can flip it over easily. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this Mira, and I don't take it off, and hopefully won't have to take it off for a very long time because of the amount of space that I have to work with. So that's another one that's, actually I just worked on this a couple days ago, so if I'm sitting in my husband's office with him, I try to bring that one in there with me to work on. Another just recent that I started is a birthday sale from Christy, Floss Boston Cousins. Just had a birthday, the 28th, Tuesday, or 27th, one of those 2 days. So this one will get worked on every 27th or 28th of the month, depending on her birthday, and it's what I'm in process of doing. She picked Heartstring Samplery Prairie Life Sampler, and she's a big Little House on the Prairie fan, as I am too. Even at my age, 58, almost 59, I enjoy a good episode of Little House on the Prairie, but this was her birthday start, and I went ahead and bought the pattern. I actually got it quite early, so I had to wait almost a month before we got started, but I was able to kit it up with, let's see what I used, a Witchelt fabric called Antique Lamb's Wool, and it's a 35 count. I've never used 35 count. And it is the called for count, but I couldn't find the classic homespun was what they called for, but I was able to find an antique lamb's wool, and I think through 1, 2, 3 stitch is where I got this. At least that's what my receipt says. As well as Vicki Clayton came out with a pack of her silks to go along with this pattern for Christy's birthday, which I thought was very sweet. So I did start this. It says the 27th, so that's the day I'll mark this as pulling it out every month to work on. Doing 1/2, and I'm using a John James 26 needle, which is very nice, and of course the silks are lovely. So I am a proponent of Vicki's silks. If you are interested in trying to work with silks, you'll be loving it just as much as I do. But I found these, I don't know what you call them. They're just plastic cases, and they have some on Amazon that are a little bit different, where you can insert the little bobbins into each one of them. But these ones fit all 16 colors perfect, and I've got a needle threader in there with my needle and needle minder, so whenever I pull it out. And then of course I've got my Floss Boston Cousins thread holder, because these are on spools. I'm not going to put them on bobbins probably. I'm just pulling a strand of thread, and I do keep one of R&R Woodworks holders. I just pull off enough to make a skein of it, and that's what I'm using for each of these colors. And I've only done one color the last 2 days, and then the leftovers I guess I can share. I do have the bobbins that Tina from her Etsy shop. Team Egner, I think is how you say it on Instagram, but I went ahead and bought those, so if I need to, or they get too crowded on this holder, I'm just pulling off one strand at a time and using that as I go. But if I need extras, I'll have Tina's in here as well for the colors, but that's kind of how I'm doing it for this pattern. But that's how it's going the last couple days, because like I said, today's only the 29th, so I've been working on it the last 2 days, even though it's not the 27th, because until I get my schedule down on my calendar, I'm just going to stitch on whatever. But this is my progress. Here in the corner, I just started with the left start. It's kind of usually what I do with all of my patterns. Unless it's really large, like a Mirabilia, I'll center start it, or if I'm in a real big hurry, sometimes it's easier to go to the center, but for the most part I start in the left upper corner. So that was a finished little motif on that one. And I will look at another color in that same area and just keep going. And I am liking this fabric. It's the, like I said, antique. I thought it would be really, well, it is kind of stiff, but once I ironed it and got it on here after serging the edges, I like how it fits in the, I use the Nerd hoops, so I like how it fits in there, and I won't have to move that one for a while either. So that's another one that has been getting a little attention. And then, like I said, I am going to start a new one today. I wanted to start it this morning, but it was a late start for me. So I still need to iron it and put it in a Q-snap, but I will share what it is. It's also another birthday start with a stitchy friend, Lisa from L Snaps, I think is her name on Instagram. I'll put all the information below if you want to follow some of these people and see their progress. So Tattered Katie is also doing this with her, and that's kind of how I was brought to my attention. But it's called Mary Ann Kopp 1839. Love the house. It does have a lot of colors, and I am using, am I using the called for? Let's see. I made a few changes, I think, yeah, because some of the Weeks Dye Works and things that I didn't have, I did buy a few of the called for, but I also changed some because I couldn't get, I think 4 or 5 of them I couldn't find. Maybe they're new flosses, like, let's see, I think Clockwork was one of the ones I couldn't find. So I'm using like the number 921 from DMC. And again, my flosses are pretty much a mess until I get my little iron here today, hopefully. And as I pull them off of the skeins or the bobbins, I will put them on my flosses. Another, I forget who it was, I want to say it was Floss Boss and Cousins, shared the holders, and I of course went to Amazon and bought them, and I'm going to, as I fix my flosses, where you put your Weeks Dye Works on these. They're sticky, and you fold them in half, and they work like a floss bobbin would, or floss, what are they called? Floss tag. And you can put them on the rings and they'll hold them. So that was another purchase. When I started kitting all these up, I thought, well, I do have some that have Weeks Dye Works in them. My supply is a little low, but I did get those as well. So since I shared that, we will put that here. But these all need to get in order. So that one is going to be one that I haven't actually started yet, but today is the start date for that. Her birthday was on the 19th of the month, so that's going to be probably the second one that I do on the 19th of every month. That, or since I meet with these ladies monthly, it might be my stitch when I go there every month. So I've really enjoyed meeting up with friends that way, and then having a chart to stitch with them. So that was is going to be today's start. Before bed, we'll get on the hoop and get at least a strand of floss is what I consider a start for me. One strand, the length of those bobbin holders that I shared. But this is the fabric, and it looks like it's going to be a big one. I got it from 123 Stitch, and I'm using a 36 count Winter Moon because I think Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher also is doing this pattern, and she shared on her Flosstube recently another fabric you can use, but I couldn't find it. I think this one called for American Chestnut, and it's an R&R reproductions, which is kind of hard to find those, but I did want to stick with the lighter background, so that's why I did the Winter Moon, and I think I did pretty good with the color. I'm hoping with the colors that I'm using that it'll go nicely. So I'm excited to get that one on the hoop today and get that started. I could, as soft as this is though with 123 Stitch, I could probably stitch in hand with this. I just, with my fingers and things, because I don't wash my things after I'm done with them, and I don't want the oils from my hands, especially this light of a color. So I think I'll probably put it on a hoop. I just gotta find a hoop. But like I said, I'll be doing that before bed tonight. So those are the ones that I've worked on the last 3 months and kitted up. That last one just yesterday, I finished kitting that one up. So I'm looking forward to doing all of those and putting them on my rotation schedule. So that was probably a little longer than I wanted it to be, but with my camera overheating, I had to wait a little bit. So besides that, I do want to share, but I was talking about the other things that I've been into the last few months, since it's been since November, and I wanted to share just a crafty thing because I am trying to be prepared for those stitchings that have beads. I've been gifted like a Mill Hill that has the beads, and I've used perforated paper before, but because of my hands and it's paper, it tends to get dirty, and I've ripped it before, so I wanted to have a stand, and I've seen them on Etsy. They're a little pricey. I wouldn't mind getting one, but I thought, why not try to make one? And after seeing like Sandbeer Stitches and a couple others that have used the wood stands, and they've linked to them, so that's how I found out about them. I kind of took Helen D's picture that she shared for the model to kind of use this, and the magnets that I bought were from, yeah, and see, I'm having a problem getting it off because you have to slide it kind of, but they are pretty strong magnets. But what I did is I found they're frames, and I still have to take the metal tabs out, and I can just pull those out. I just haven't done it yet. But I got them off Amazon unfinished. You could probably find them maybe painted already, but I went with the unfinished because, you know, I'm not too concerned. I mean, I can paint it later or stain it. I'd probably rather stain it than paint it because some of the paints that I have, you know, rub off on your hands. So for now, I'm just going to leave it unfinished. But like I said, the most expensive part was the magnets to Home Depot, and bought 2 packs, and I can link the things below if you're interested, of the magnets. I think they were $9.98 a piece for 10. So I put 10 on one side, or I should say my husband put 10 on one side after drilling the holes with his little tools that he has. Something I knew I couldn't do, so I asked his help. So he drilled those holes for me, and we started out with E6000, and all but 2 stuck after 2 days of letting it dry. So I think he said those 2 that he stuck in there, he just used some adhesive that he had. But the ones that I used E6000, like I said, when you just see me separate it, and you've seen how powerful they were. I've marked 2 corners so I know which way we put it, like a little pencil mark in that corner and a pencil mark in this corner, so I know to put those 2 corners together. And then of course the perforated paper, depending on your size. Then I just hold it together and I have that much area in the middle to work with. So I think this will work out really good for the small things that I want to do. This piece that I have in here right now is for a freebie that I got off of, oh, it doesn't say. Oh, yes it does. Not Forgotten Farms. And I've shared it, I think, in my last video, if I'm not mistaken. But I hadn't started it yet, so I wanted to get the stand figured out. So it's Pumpkin Cottage, is what's going to go on here. So that's going to be my first one that I try out with this. But that was something that we tried to figure out this past month. And of course I've got all the flosses here ready to go on my little floss tags. So I'm going to try to do that one for the fall and have a fall stitch on perforated paper for 2024, I'm hoping. So that is the plan for my new little stitchy stand, as well as, like I said, someone gifted me this winter holiday collection, a stitchy friend, called Candlelight, and it's got the beads in it, so I'll most likely put a piece of canvas or perforated paper in here to use for that. So that was the other thing. It was during the Jingle Ball, I think that was in December of last year, that I started this other piece. It's considered cross stitch also, but it's on canvas, and I did get a little far with it. Got my little needle here. I should have a little magnet holder for it, but I took it out real quick and just stuck it in here. It's called Whimsy's Dimensions Kit, and it's actually got a little musical thing to it, but that was another thing that I worked on, and I thought I would make this up for Christmas next year. And during the Jingle Ball is when I started that, so it's got all its pieces and parts in here that will happen, but I got a little ways during the Jingle Ball. See, this is the musical part here. It's got the electronics, so I'll have to read all the instructions on how to get that together, but it is on plastic canvas. And another, I'm not sure though with that stand, where did I put it? I just set it somewhere. Oh, it's right in front of me. I'm not sure unless I keep a piece of perforated paper. Well, it might, actually it might be good to keep those little hooks that I have in there. Look at that. And hold it instead of having it for the magnets. So that is I might rethink pulling those metal pieces out. Because if I have a really small piece of canvas or perforated paper, those metal tabs from the picture frame will keep it in there for me here. But I'm also trying to finish and wanting to use Teresa Kogut's pattern Create Every Day. And these are Pearl Cotton 5s. I've got a green. What color do I have? I bought several in the green colors because I want to use that since the bag is green. Got a darker green, a blue purple, as well as a aqua kind of a green. So I'm going to put those on this ring. And then my card here, I've kitted this up since last year. But the actual pattern, like I said, was Teresa Kogut's Create Every Day. And I thought I would put it on these FatQuarterShop bags. I've got the Y done. You can see that. And I'm hoping to use these colors. I'm not sure how many I'll use depending on the pattern. And since it's a freebie, I can probably share that with you. Here it is. Yeah, it was back in Nashville, which is this weekend for us in 2024, but this was back in 2020. But it's, like I said, Teresa Kogut's Create Every Day. She has t-shirts out now, too, if you go to her website, that say Create Every Day, as well as her other one that has her logo on it. But that's what I want to put on this big bag. So that is also a project in process. I also watch Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and she posted, or one of her last floss tubes she shared from this book, Ooh La La. So of course I had to purchase that because I wanted the one pattern in there. I'm sure there's others in here I'll do, but for now it's just the one that I do want to start. It's called The Last Rose of Summer, and I can insert a picture of that since it'll just be easier. I went to 123 Stitch and got the called for fabric and flosses, same as what she said on her floss tube. She did the same thing, and that's the fabrics there. I like the color. It's like a gingerbread, I think is the name. Yep, 36 count gingerbread. And then they had all the flosses as well. And they are mostly Weeks Dye Works. And so those little tabs I mentioned will come in handy to put those on the little tags and put them on a ring. And then I know it might take me a while to actually stitch it. It's not very big if you've seen the picture. And it might be on the back cover here. Yeah, there it is. It's this one here. And what she did is she put it on a little box that she got at Hobby Lobby. Seen those empty books that you can get? I can probably show it here. It looks like one of those. So she actually fully finished hers on there, and that's kind of what I want to do, but I didn't actually get that box. I did go to Hobby Lobby, but didn't know what the number was. And I'm sure it's in here now, but since I've already bought the box, I'll share that with you. And I'll designate, and I might just keep all my supplies in it as well, knowing that this is the box I want to use after I stain it. But I thought it was just so cute. It might be just a little bit bigger than the box that's needed, which is fine. Bigger is better than smaller, and I want to put that on the top of this box. So I am going to designate this box as my, and it's got a little handle even, to put my supplies in. But for now, I will just keep my supplies for this project. The book won't fit, of course, but I can put the card, knowing what it's for, and keep it all in here together. So that's another in-process project. I guess we have a new name, in-process projects. My IPPs, in-process projects. But yeah, I'll have to figure out the stain on that. But I did get this at Hobby Lobby. It was the only one they had, but I'm sure if you want, I can put the information in the bottom and you can see if they still sell it. So like I said, that's an in-process project. Let's see, another one that's got kitted. And I did kit it last year, and I do want to start it. And I am going to use what I've kitted here. But because it was a borrowed pattern, I gave the pattern back after I printed it. So I really felt bad about doing it before I actually had the pattern. So 123 Stitch got an order yesterday. $9 I think is what it was, so it's ready for pickup. So in a week or so I'll go and pick that up. But it's the Strawberry Fields Forever. I'm not going to start it though until I get the pattern, and I'm going to input it into my iBooks like I've done all my other patterns. And I'm going to use this piece of fabric, and of course my card's probably not in here, but thankfully 123 keeps their little stickers on there. It's a 32 count Belfast linen called Ancient Belfast. So I got my pin in there ready to go, just waiting for the pattern to get here because I want to support the designers. I don't want to use copied pieces, so because of that I'm waiting till I get my pattern, which will be here. Well, it's waiting for me to pick it up. So I am going to do Strawberry Fields Forever. I think it was Lisa from Lost in Stitches that shared it, and it really caught my eye, so I I do want to keep that in my project pile. Handmade by Sarah. And it was with her sisters that she was doing the hashtag Stitchy Sister Sal and asked if people wanted to do it to go along with it. So I am going to do this one as well. Their start date was November 26th, so that was right around when I had my last video. But I did get it all kitted up. Other than that, I haven't actually started it, but it's this Mary, and it's a hands-on design. And it looks like it has a lot of stitches in it, but if I stick to it on the 26th of every month is my plan. That's kind of how I'm going to do that. I just found a piece of Ada, and it's got masking tape on it, which tells me it was my mother's. So I will use that piece to do that on. I'm probably not going to dye it or anything. But the colors, all I have to do is find the called for colors that's probably DMC, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Another thing that I purchased and got all the fabrics for. So this is partially haul, partially things that I want to continue stitching on. Or starting, I should say. These are going to be mostly my starts this year in 2024. I am a lover of anything Jane Austen, so when I seen these patterns, it was like, yes, please. So I purchased Netherfield, Pemberley, Jane, and Pianoforte. I'll probably start with the Jane, but I will be doing them on individual pieces, and I found 32 count vintage smoky white Belfast from 123, so they've gotten a lot of my attention today. So I bought 4 of these that size, so they all have their fabrics. I just need to get the flosses together, and looking at these, they look like they're all DMC, so I'll probably do a stash dive for all those numbers, and the ones I don't have, Hobby Lobby will be getting some attention. So because of the Jane Austen quilt that I'm starting this year, you'll see that in my quilt tube, because I am going to keep sewing and cross stitch separate because there's just too much. I thought having a cross stitch piece to go along with the quilting would be fun. So I am only focusing on 2 quilts this year, but that's one of the ones I really want to start. A couple more here. Another birthday start that I've got the fabric and the pattern for. It was Shelly from Antique Needleworkers had a birthday last year. Shelly's birthday sale that I want to start. I did start the one from Tiger Lily that she put out on her birthday, so that one will probably come with my whip recording that I want to do in March sometime. But this one's the Be Kind sampler that she chose, and sorry for the printout. My printer's losing its color. So I've got the pattern. It was an Etsy purchase because I wanted to have it just quickly. So I purchased that on Etsy. It's just quicker. And then I bought Weeks Dye Works 35 count Cocoa is what I think it's the called for, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Weeks Dye Works linen. So it's a little darker of a linen, but I got that at 123 as well. And I just need to gather my flosses. So designate the day of the month for that birthday start. So I have a couple birthday starts going that I want to continue. Another one that's almost kitted, I just need the fabric for it, that I want to start. This one I just did over Christmas because I seen a lady at the Sit and Stitches that we do. She was stitching on one of these. I'm not going to take it out of the paper, but it's another Prairie Schooler, so it'll also go in my Prairie Schooler bag. But I found the Avera Soie silks because that's what she was using, and it looks so pretty. So I've got the colors and the pattern, but I need to get the fabric. So that's another one that I would like to do this year. So there's a few that I want to start for sure, and that's these ones that I'm sharing with you. And then lastly, no, two more. This one and another one. This is the bag I mentioned in, I think, my first clip. Huge bag. So what I've put in here, because of the pairs, is all the Christmas ones that I've collected from Hello from Liz Matthews. The trees is what I want to do. And then up in my frames and things, I think it was Helen D that shared her finish of one of them, and she found some stands that will make perfect Christmas tree stands. So I'm going to put those in this bag as well because they will fit. And then I think I mentioned also market is this weekend, and I have one, the newest one coming, chart number 10 I think it is. But I'm probably not going to do it on the blue fabric that one shows, because I've already pre-bought the fabrics that I want to use on each one of these. And I also have the sampler tree that she has as well. So I think I'll keep them white since they are Christmas stitches. And the edges already come serged, but this one is a 36 count white Edinburgh linen. So I bought, of course, 10 of those. Actually, I pre-bought 11 and 12 just because I know she'll come out with the other two charts in the next 2 years, so having the fabric for them was my goal. But this is how much I had gotten done on number 1. And I'm also in number 1, I was using the DMC silks, and I'm probably gonna just go ahead and use DMC for these when I restart it. So all these flosses here, which are dangerously coming close to falling off of the fobs because they're so slippery. That's what I had chosen at first, and they are very slick, but they're the DMC silk versions, somehow the metallics as well. But I thought when I first kitted this that it would be neat to see the glitter shimmer, which probably still would be, but because of the amount of them, I think going to DMC is probably going to be better for me. So this is kind of one of those projects that people talk about redo. Since I didn't get very far, I think it's fine to do that. And having all the same fabrics is kind of my goal. So I have a few extra fog linens for other projects that I can put back in my stash. So going through all these has really helped to make decisions on what's best for me. But those are going to stay in this bag, and then once I get the one from Market, I'll also put that in here. So one at a time, I will start 1 through 10, not to have a goal of any time to get them finished. But I think I mentioned I'm a process stitcher. I just enjoy the process of it. So that's that project. And then lastly, I'm going to start this one this month for sure because it's with a friend, stitchy friend, and it's a freebie. I also seen, I think Linens and Scraps mentioned it on their Flosstube as well. When they seen So Tattered and Katie and her mom in that video, they shared some of the things that her mom was working on, and I already had it, so I thought I need to start that with her. So we are going to start that, hopefully, I am anyways, a week from yesterday. No, today's Thursday. So next Wednesday when we go to the Boxcar Sit and Stitch, Carolyn and I are going to start Mary Jane Fry. I'm excited to see how quickly this one goes. Sorry for the black and white printout. My color printer is pretty sad. So I kitted mine up with DMC. I'm not sure what she's doing. I'm sure she'll share it. But I've got all my DMCs here. And just yesterday I picked up our fabrics. 40 count. We're going to do it on 40 count Country Mocha Newcastle linen. And that's what that looks like. So it's a pretty large piece. So I'm not sure how quickly it'll go because, like I said, this is a freebie from Amanda Rowe, the Solitary Stitcher. Oh, and I just found my paper for the other one that I shared. The Spanish Stitcher that Katie and a few others were starting. I will put that in the bag that it goes in. I knew I had it somewhere, but this one is, it calls for DMC. And I'm looking for the stitch count. 190 by 270. So that's going to be a fun one. And like I think I was telling somebody today, I'll do it if I'm doing it with somebody else, but if it's just something I start and it tends to get put aside and not worked on for a long time. So if I'm doing it with other people, I know I'll actually stitch on it. So that will be a fun one to designate the start date and every month work on that. And if I really like it, maybe I'll work on it a little more often. I didn't share a new craft that I'm learning, or actually 2 new crafts. I knew how to knit just the basic stitches, but Carrie from Tiger Lily Designs has a beanie along going. Go to her YouTube and you will be able to, she links you to her pattern, which is on Patreon, which is free just to go and subscribe, but she also, you can be a member and support that too. But if you just want to do the beanie along to get the pattern, that's how you do that. I started that with a new set of shorties that she shared. I didn't have the shorties. I have regular size knitting needles, and these are circulars. So that's what you need for this particular pattern. But I wanted to learn how to make a hat, so this is perfect. So I've got it as far as 40 cast on for the hat itself, and I also did the first step, which is the gauge swatching, which I didn't know how to do, so now I do because she steps us through it, which was so fun to learn all that, and blocking it and counting your stitches to figure out how much you cast on. So I need to cast on 112 for my size hat, and I've got 40 or so on my needles right now, which are actually in the living room next to the couch where I'm stitching it. So because of that, that's another craft that I've dove into, is just because it's with other stitchy friends and it's fun to learn new things. And then also wool applique, thanks to Katie and all of her posts. How fun it looks. I decided to try my first applique with wool. So I found this pattern on Amazon, and it came with felt as the kit. I'll probably just put the felt in my stash because I also went to a website, Katie's recommendation. I'll put all this below if you're interested. Called the Winterberry Cabin, and they have some nice wool. 100% wool, and I'm going to switch up the colors to do the more primitive look of the table mat for my first wool project. So because of that, I needed to purchase the scissors that were needed because I don't have a good pair of wool scissors, which are coming. They're not here yet. Got those from Susan Stanley. She just shared recently. She has 2 different sizes, 7 and 8 size shears, and I thought having the smaller size, since I have a pair for my sewing, this one will be for my wool. So having my first wool kit, I'm excited about. My word is focus. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but some people do word of the year. And this year for me is focus. I want to focus more on the projects that I'm doing, and then as well as focus on purposefully finishing things, focus on friendships, focus on just have a good focus this year. And I think, you know, because of that, that's why I picked that word. But with the applique anyways, the friends that I know that do it are very helpful, and I'm hoping as I do this, if I have questions, that y'all will be helpful. And I've already, even yesterday when I was at my sit-in stitch, one of the ladies there, Liza's her name, she did that one-on-one tutorial like I really enjoy. I also learned last month, another friend at Boxcar, Trish, she shared a one-on-one with us for a pin stitch. So if I can see somebody actually do it, it helps. And then she also gave me, I think this is called a blanket stitch. She just took a piece of sticky paper or whatever it's called, note paper, and took her needle and stitched me the blanket stitch so that when I go to do this on the wool applique, I'll know what it's supposed to look like. So I loved that, you know, she said keep that, and I was very appreciative that she took the time to share with me, being new, what the blanket stitch is. I think that's the most commonly used one when you're appliquing wool pieces together. So I just didn't want it to look ridiculous, so this will definitely help me in that project. So that's going to be my spring start, I think. We're in March already, so I'm looking forward now that I've got all the supplies, which I was also going to share a few things that I purchased. When I was watching a couple of the tutorials, they recommended a few things, so I of course had to go online and get what was needed. Soline pencil, or pen actually. Well, it says pencil, with a few refills in there. So that was another purchase for that craft. Also, when I was doing Susan Stanley's little blanket that I made for my grandbaby, these were recommended by Susan as well. But they're those thimble pads, and you can use them when hand stitching. And so when I do the blanket stitch, I'm thinking these little sticky pads will be very useful. I don't know if I'm close enough. I'm not sure how far away my camera is, but that was one I got off of Amazon. And being with small pieces, I also got a small pair of wool scissors to use for applique. They say they need to be really sharp. So there's one company called Appliquick, A-P-L-I-Q-U-I-C-K, and I can share. I got these off Amazon as well, but the tutorial I was watching mentioned some good scissors, so I went ahead and got these little, and they have the name on it, I guess. Yeah, Appliquick. Very sharp, and I'll use these specifically for applique. So I'll have this pair here, and then the ones that I've ordered from Susan Stanley, the dressmaker shears. Those will cut my wool pieces, I think, when they're larger pieces. But I know the small pieces sometimes in applique can get a little tedious, and having a small pair of scissors I think will be helpful. So that's why I purchased those, as well as some needles. These are called black gold needles, and they're applique sharps. It says it pierces smoothly, so I'm hoping these will, I mean, the eyes look pretty small, so depending on the threads that I'm using when I applique, I thought those would come in handy. That's the brand that was recommended on the tutorial I was watching. It says the black plated are enhanced to not rust, I guess. So that, they're Clover brand. That's what that says. I think that was pretty much the things that I purchased for applique. Oh no, there's one more. Where did I put it? It was in here. Oh, it's right here in front of me. Of course, I already had this book, Creative Stitches, and that's what I told Liza yesterday when she was sharing the blanket stitch. This is a really good book to actually explain how to do like specific stitches, and there's a lot of them in here. There's circular stitches. Oh, what else is in here? Decorative edging stitches. So I think, and I'm sure the blanket stitches in here as well. I've actually put a few cross stitch papers that share how to do certain stitches, chain stitches and stuff like that in here to keep handy. So I'm going to keep all this with my applique things. as well as a few others that I've bought and I think I've already shared. The other applique thing I bought off Amazon, recommended by Katie of So Tattered. She shared that this is what she uses when she does wool applique, or just applique on when you sew and put them on your quilts. I guess the small point here gets around those corners, so I'm going to use this instead of there's other techniques through Appliquick and stuff that you can use, but she said this is how she does it, so of course that's looks easier than some of what I've watched, so I went ahead and purchased one of these off of Amazon, and it came the other day. So that wraps up applique and my new adventures into that. Between all of these clips, while I was trying to figure out why my camera was overheating, Amazon did come, and I think I mentioned in a previous clip, getting my flosses straightened. And from Floss Boss and Cousins, Christy and Callie, she mentioned this flat iron that someone sent her. It's pretty tiny, but it'll be perfect for flosses. It's the MHU, I think is that, mini. I don't know if that's how that reads. But it's just a small little 1/2-inch mini ceramic hair straightener. But it has just really thin and small, and I'll plug it in. It's got a pretty long cord, so that'll be nice. And while I'm sitting and kitting things up, when I'm using my mother's bobbins and unwinding them to make them look pretty on their little rings and not so messy looking, that's why I purchased this. I think it was $10, maybe, not even, $9.99 or $8.99, something like that. But when I seen other people trying to keep track, and when they have their finishes, they like to take a little photo and put them in their book. But this was one of the ones, and I can't recall who I was watching, but Foamemo, I think is how you say it. And of course they had it in the teal green. So what this is I think it prints in black and white. I haven't tried it yet. You charge it up, but you can print off your photo on the printer cartridge thing that is in here, and I bought a few extras. I think they're in the box for different color. Yeah, there's 2 more in here. 2 more reels once I run out. I'm not sure how long it'll last. As slow of a stitcher that I am, although I could do it with my other crafts too, my crochet finishes and stuff. When I keep my notebooks and want to see what I've finished, I can print off a picture of what it looks like when I'm done. So that's why I purchased that at Christmas. So that was another purchase. I hope I can remember to link all this stuff. While I was at 123 picking up my orders, I've been there twice in the last 2 weeks, and like I said, I have another order to pick up, but probably won't get there till a week after next because I'll be somewhere else. They have things in the front of their shop when you go to pick up orders that you can look at and purchase if you want. So they had this picture this everyday frame, and of course it was while I was working on that perforated paper frame that I was doing. So it's another beaded project, and I'll put it with my other beaded projects. Keep them all together, but I thought it would be a very cute frame finish with the beads and all the threads coming with it. So another mill hill. So I think I have 3 mill hills now. Well, one's just a whimsies, but at least 2 mill hills that I have that I would like to try and use with my frame. So that was a purchase also at 123 Stitch. As well as, I think I mentioned when I went to Boxcar, I shared a few of the Valentine's things that they had, but another lady had brought, and I don't think I brought the fabrics or the yarns in here, but I can insert some pictures. She had brought stuff that she was trying to go through and get rid of for the new year, as well as charts, so we all had a chance to go through some things. And this one called Hickety Pickety was in there, which is a Brenda Gervais pattern. Get this out of the way so you can actually see the picture. I think it's more of a fall Easter, or not Easter, fall Halloween kind of a pattern. I don't usually stitch Halloween. That's just not one of my favorite holidays. But being a Brenda Gervais and having chickens on it with pumpkins, I think I'll just probably either adapt the witch's hat off of the lady and just have a lady in the back there instead of a witch's hat. Just kind of do what I normally do, because like I said, I don't decorate for Halloween, but I do decorate for fall, and with the pumpkins on there and the barrel, I think it would be a cute stitch. So I did pick that one up. She was giving these away, so very generous people. As well as Erica Michaels' one that she had for the fall as well, pine cones. It's called Leafy Sidewalks. Leaves are falling, autumn is calling, so I thought that was really cute. And words for me go a little quicker, so I'm looking forward to stitching that for a fall finish. So back to the organization part, I think instead of a lot of my patterns prior, I alphabetize them by designer. I still might leave the tags and have them alphabetized, but in each slot, like one slot or cubby, I guess they're called cubbies, like I'm going to designate one for seasonal stitches, and then another one will be just like either large stitches and smalls. That way I can easily go to a seasonal cubby if I'm looking for something seasonal by designer. And then if I want either a large sampler type cross stitch, it'll be in the larger. And I'm going to say 1 to 100 and maybe 150 stitches will be one section, and then anything above 150, of course, is going to be called, you know, my larger cross stitches. I don't have too many that I've started that are small yet, but I'm hoping for now my 6 cubbies will take care of what I need. I might use a file cabinet drawer that I keep my flosses in. I have another drawer underneath it that I could possibly put my kitted projects in, just to keep them separate from the ones that I've actually started. So, like I said, these will get filed in my file drawer of ones that haven't even gotten started to kit, and then I'll have a section that I've got for already started projects. And if I see them, I'm more apt to stitch on them if they're tucked away in a drawer, like the ones that haven't been started. If I want to start something with somebody, I can just go over there and see if I have that in my drawer. Lastly was a Christmas purchase. When I had seen it, I think it was Sambria Stitches, Becca, shared her Christmas, I don't know what you call it, displays, and in one of them she shared that she didn't know who it was by, but she really enjoyed it. And I don't know if she posted that what the name of it was, or she didn't have a whole lot of information, but she did have that it came out of a Better Homes and Gardens cross stitch Christmas magazine. So I of course had to go on to Etsy, no, not Etsy, what's the other one called, eBay, because these you can't find unless it's on an off-market kind of a site. And actually my friend Nancy was a really big help, because she found the name of the pattern for me and also found a couple links on eBay, and I was able to purchase one of those links. And I'm trying to find the actual picture of I mean, it only costed $5.99, and with shipping it was $13 on eBay, and it was in December of 2023. I wrote it on the little envelope that they sent it to me in, just so that I'd have it as a reminder when I do stitch it. And I was shocked at how many patterns are in this one magazine. I mean, I bought it purposely for one chart, but I mean, there are tons. I forget how many I counted. Over 70 cross-stitch patterns, and so cute. I mean, if you're into stitching stockings, there's those. I'm trying to find the one that I purposely bought it for so that I can share that with you, but I don't want to share any. Oh, here it is. I want to share the chart. It's called Christmas Topiaries. It was just so pretty, and it looks like an easy stitch. So that's why I bought this magazine. And, you know, it's worth every penny of the $13 that I spent. And the magazine itself on the cover says it was $5.99. So that's what she was selling it for. And I just had to pay shipping pretty much. So, oh, it says on the cover more than 100 quick stitches. So very thankful to have found that, and for all the help that my stitchy friends out there did to help me figure it out, and for Becca for sharing that in her post, because a lot of my purchases are from people that have floss tubes and share all the things. You know, I've mentioned them all already, but I mean, that's why we're in this craft. We love to stitch. When I mentioned my beanie along with Carrie from Tiger Lily, I didn't actually share what I had put on my needles, but I was going to do that really quick as well. The way 100% wool comes on skeins through me, I had no idea. It's kind of similar to your flosses, excuse me, itchy nose. But it comes in a circle, and you have to get it off the circle. And that was a challenge in itself. I think it took me 45 minutes for the first skein. But I had to wind them on my ball winder. And I don't have a Swift, so I used the back of a chair. But this is where I'm at so far with the knitting of 112. I should have my stoppers on here so I don't lose any stitches. It's kind of crooked right now, but I do like the way it's looking with the purple and the white and the blue all mixed in. But as you can see with the ball of yarn, it's going to be those colors. And why I have two is because I couldn't find a DK weight, which is like a 3, I think, yarn, 100% wool that was hand-dyed at the Hobby Lobby that I went to. They did have 100% hand-dyed wool, maybe 5 or 6 selections, but it wasn't a DK weight. They only had fingerling, which is really thin. So I know that you can put 2 fingerling weight yarns together to get approximately a DK weight yarn. So that's why I'm doing 2 together. It doesn't seem to be getting too tangled. I just have to watch as I'm unwheeling it. There it is. Off of the skeins. I mean, it stays together pretty well. Just to keep it together, and then as I'm doing my rows, hopefully. This is the ribbing, so for now that's how it's looking. So hopefully I can get them all cast on and get the ribbing done, and then the body of it. And then we're going to switch to double pointed needles, which is really new to me because I've seen them, but I have no idea how to use them. So I bought the correct size of double pointed needles for this project, and I think we'll be using 3 or 4 of them, because the way you put your hat into a crown, you need these to hold it that way. So hopefully I can get to that point. But it has been fun to learn how to knit properly, because like I said, my mother taught me just the basic knit and purl, casting on and casting off. I saved a few of those videos so I can always go back to it and replay it to get them off and to get them on, and tons of videos on YouTube. if you want to learn those kind of steps. But Carrie has been really good step-by-step showing how you do things, which is very helpful for me. So just a couple other things purchase-wise. While I was at Hobby Lobby, I picked up a few things, and I always look in their clearance, and I thought these were so cute. They're just little clips, and I thought either for finishes on things, or if I'm using clips for anything, these would be cute spring little clips that I purchased, as well as some pins they had for spring and summer, I think. All the cute little things. I bought a couple packs of those. These ones have tomatoes and scissors and rotary cutters on them. So Hobby Lobby is usually my easiest way to go when I'm looking for things like that. And I'm usually there to get DMC. That's pretty much why I go to Hobby Lobby. But recently it was for some yarns, so that's why I went. And then this one actually says Works in Progress, XOXO. It's got a bobbin with a bee, and then an envelope. So I think these might have been for Valentine's Day maybe. But I thought for finishes, these kind of pins, I see people stick them in their projects sometimes, or if you have a different kind of a finish. They're just straight pins that you can use. I thought they were really cute. And then I'm all into and I'm still making zipper pulls and scissor fobs, and so they had these on sale for 99 cents each. One is like a star, but like quilting little fobs, so those got purchased as well. And these magnetic, what you call them, needle holders are handy if you've got a project to hold your cross stitch needles. This one actually had bees on it, so your needles won't fall even when you open. They stay in there, so that's really handy to have in your on-the-go kind of bags. So that was a purchase. And I'm thinking with all of the spools like from Vicki Clayton, these bags I had found at Hobby Lobby. I got over 100 of them, but you can put them on rings. They got little holes in the bottom, but they're like zip bags. Some people put their flosses in them and kit them up in their kitted projects, so I did get those for that purpose, and thought maybe with either Vicki Clayton's or even my pearl cottons and things, when I'm kitting them up, that's what I'll use those for. And then I think it was Amazon had these on sale for like $10, so I got some more sulky. I just have it upside down. Spring colors in the sulky. And then another Amazon or social media, Farmhouse Flossies, I think. She always posts when she has some new colors and when she has sale. But they're 10-yard skeins. I got 3 colors: Lemonade, Mermaid, and Great Muline. So just more spring-like colors to have in my stash. I've been kitting up a lot, so a lot of my flosses are inside of kits and things that I've kitted. So it's getting kind of low over there in my drawer, and so when I see a few here and there, and these are ones that I have not used before, so I'm hoping they're as nice as like Classic Color Works, and I'm sure they are. They're hand dyed, so they feel nice and they are very pretty. So I'm looking forward to kitting those up with things this spring. Other than that, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but my little cart, 3-wheel cart, still has most of my whips in them, but I have separated them. One is a seasonal rack, and another one is a just all-around cross-stitch pieces that I've started. And then I've got birthday starts here, as well as, what else is this? Oh, applique type, what do you call it? Heart hanger, things that I've been wanting to look at and start. So I'll save the whips and things for a whip parade and a kitted parade. That's what all that is. But real quickly, I guess I will just go through this so that I get it off my plate. A few of the things that I've dived into or want to dive into when it comes to hand embroidery, that kind of thing. I want to say her name is Karen, and I can't think of the name of her channel, but I will put it in the description. She had tutorials on heart hanger, and she had some printouts. So while watching, I mean, there's a good dozen in here, and they're probably step by step. I haven't read through them all, but heart hanger was another thing that I would love to try and do. And I think you use the pearl cottons and things like that for heart hanger. If you're interested in heart hanger, that's a good website to go to. Someone had given me some embroidery pieces that her mother had started, and they are very cute, and I could see me making a bag out of this once they're finished, but she didn't get too far. Well, this one's almost done actually, but I thought it was so cute, and I want to use some of these things for bags, and I can see sewing this into a bag after it gets finished. But the center in here needs to be finished, and of course the border. But just kind of following what she did just to finish that up. But she was very sweet to send me those. And then this one hasn't gotten started, but it's a cute pattern. I could either use that for applique, embroidery, or even just tracing it for rug hooking. I could see me maybe trying to do that in a rug hook. Very pretty flowers is that pattern. So those are a couple of the things I'd like to try. Once I learn the stitches, like I said, wool applique will be my first attempt at it. One of my friends at Christmas got me a kit, I guess. It's called needle tatting, and I've shared in the past a piece that someone had given me that needs fixing, so I wouldn't mind trying to learn how to tat just for the purpose of fixing the piece that was given to me. So this was a gift, and then I went, and when I was at Hobby Lobby, I actually found a little tatting, I guess it's called, what is it called? Shuttle, a tatting shuttle, and the bobbin, and I've been watching a couple things on YouTube on how to tat, so I might attempt it, and if the book, as thick as this booklet is, hopefully it gives you good instructions that I will end up fixing the piece that was given to me. And it's almost like a doily. If I think of it, I'll insert a picture of what that looked like. But another adventure I wouldn't mind learning. I don't know what it is about trying all the things, but I am loving being able to keep my brain working in that area of crafts. So that's that one. A couple others of these are also, I guess they're considered applique, but this is like a, let me see if I have a good picture of it. It's an owl keychain holder, and it just gives you the shapes, and it was given to me as a gift from, you know, they were getting rid of things and they had all the pieces in here, so I put this in my pile of, you know, small things to try and do. So that's why it's in here. And I've got some extra material in here if I want to use different colors for that particular pattern. But that's the owl pattern in this bag. And then a couple of these are super old and never got finished. I'm not going to pull it out of the bag, but it's a pillow. And it has the words, "Let everything that has breath praise the Lord," and it's from Psalm 156. And it looks like somebody appliqued, or stitched actually, or embroidered, I think is the proper word. They embroidered on here most of the flowers, but they didn't do the letters, and I thought I would just embroider over top of what was written with a thread that I have that would go nicely with this pillow, and then this pillow will be a finish. There's just things I've found in all of my organizing that I would like to keep and finish. This was an apron my mother bought me many years ago, and it never got stitched on, and I'm noticing it has cross stitches on it. It says stitched with love, and I'd like to take and cross stitch on those. I don't know if you can see it with my lighting, but it's around the basket here. So that's another item I'd like to finish with cross stitch. I'm not even sure where she got it, but just those little things that we put away and find later and want to do. So that's another cross stitch item that needs to be stitched on. And then this project was a gift from last fall, and I did start it and got some pieces cut out with my interfacing. This is the leaf, but it's pumpkin pincushion. It was during the quilt show that we went to last year. My friend Nancy purchased this for me, so I need to keep going on it and get my little pincushion made. I have an actual stand to put it on like that, or I don't know if you can see in behind me, I keep a collection of pincushions over there as well. If I make room, I could probably put it up there on the shelf. And then when I need a pincushion, just grab it and go. So that's an in process. So I guess I have actually done a little bit of starting with applique and piecing things. So that's that project. But it's like a little wreath, and it's pieced together. I've cut it out already, so the instructions are here. But I need to just sew it together and stuff it, and then this will make a little cute wreath that I, like I said, had just a grapevine wreath. That's the back and that's the front. So things that I probably won't get rid of, but will attempt to do and see how they turn out, because I just love anything crafty. Like I said before, I'll probably do a few more extra videos separately. Will be a quilt video with all the projects that I'm doing there. There's a couple going in process right now, and then I wouldn't mind doing a quilt whip parade, I guess they would call it, or I don't know what they call them when you do all of the things that you've started, and just share the projects that I have in all of my bins over there. So that, I think a couple other people are doing their cross stitch separate from their sewing. That way it doesn't make the video as long. I apologize, this one will probably be pieced together, as well as I'm not sure how many minutes in each one I'll be able to edit out and put together. My goal, like I said, is about an hour. I noticed some people do hour and 15. So I guess, like I said, it's been 3 months since I've been on here, so there was a lot to share, and I didn't even share it all. I've got all my projects separated, but I do need to make a whip parade of one, and then maybe I'll do, there is a small stack here of birthday sales that I haven't started yet, or cross stitches that I want to start and are fully kitted. What do they call that? A kit parade, maybe? So maybe I'll do a kit parade one, and then I'll also do all of my whips that I didn't cover today in the other video, and just post them separately is what I'm thinking. So thanks for staying with me if you stayed this long. Like I said at the first clip, I would like to come on at least once a month and share what projects I've worked on with the new crafts as well as the cross stitch, basically, and then keep my quilting and sewing separate from that. So Happy New Year, even though we're going into March 1st. Happy leap day, leap year. And we will talk to you again next time for, I guess that would be my video 22. But this is video 21. And we will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.